Hey everybody, it's James Knull here with another edition of Tip Tuesday. And lucky for us, we have one of our VIP Power Team members on the call today. One of the most prolific, famous, dare I say, celebrity lawyers in the world of real estate investing, not only in Edmonton, not only in Alberta, but in Canada. Everybody knows Barry, and for good reason. He's been in the game for quite a while. He's got a massive following of students who have had great success in agreement for sale, rent to own, creative deals. When it comes to real estate investing and real estate law, there's no better person to talk to. So, Barry, thanks for jumping in on Tip Tuesday. It's great to see you.
Well, thanks, James. Thanks for that glowing intro. When I hear those things, I always go, who's he talking about? Oh, me. No, it's great for you to say that. I think a big part of it is after all these years, and it's been a long time. I still love real estate. People go, "What? It's a real estate deal. Come on, how interesting can that be?" Well, I find all my deals interesting. The creative ones are particularly interesting. It's to a large extent, it's about folks who are moving ahead in their lives. They're buying a house to move into. They're buying a house to rent. They're excited as they can possibly be. They're nervous. They're a whole bunch of things, and I still love doing all those deals and making them go and just getting involved with people. So for all the years I've been doing it, that's why I still keep doing it, and why I enjoy doing these kinds of things that you and I are gonna do today. So let's get at her.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm super excited about chatting. Now, often on Tip Tuesday, I come with a list of questions for our expert. But you know what, Barry? Your reputation just precedes you so much that instead of asking you pointed questions, I'm going to ask you what's going on right now. We know the market is shifted. Edmonton, we've gone from a 5-year buyer's market to a balanced, maybe even dare I say, seller's market. Timelines are tight. Action needs to happen in a decisive way. We don't have the luxury of dragging our feet, and that permeates all areas of the business, from the real estate end on our end to writing offers to the mortgage brokers needing to do their thing. And of course, there's legal considerations, which is the glue that holds the transaction together. So what are you noticing in this more balanced to sellers market in terms of how it's impacting your ability to do what you need to do as a lawyer?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about that, James, is I agree with you. It's more balanced here in Alberta, but in many other areas of the country, BC, as always, Ontario, and lots more of Ontario. Well, lots more of BC than the Lower Mainland, I think, and you know better than I out there. But lots more in Ontario, and more than just the Golden Horseshoe on the West Coast or on the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
New Brunswick, it's as busy as can be. So where it's a balanced market where we are here in Alberta, it's much more, I think, on the seller side of things in those busier markets. And so something I had in one of my little quick newsletters I send out to realtors and brokers is we were waiting for some instructions from Royal Bank, Canada's biggest bank. And I find overall the easiest bank to deal with. It's kind of interesting that Canada's biggest bank is the easiest one to deal with. And the rule is that the smaller the lender, the larger the stack of paper and the more trouble it is kind of the opposing rule. But we were waiting for a set of mortgage instructions for our buyer. They're buying a new property, bank mortgage. It's 5 days from closing, and we don't have the mortgage instructions yet. So that's way late.
Yeah.
So we get hold of Royal Bank to the mortgage specialist, and we say, where are our mortgage instructions? We know that our client, we believe, finished off with you 2 weeks ago. They went, well, here's the story. Normally at Royal Bank, we get 2,000 to 2,500 applications per day across the country.
Wow.
I'm reading that and going, wow, that's a lot of applications.
Yeah, it sure is.
Right now, we are getting 8,000 applications across the country.
Wow.
So now I understand why they're behind in getting us our mortgages for our client. We're one of, how many are they working on? So I went, If that's the way it is for Royal Bank, it's likely the same for other lenders, to a degree. All other lenders will be relatively busy. And so what that means for our clients, James, and what my coaching is, people have to understand that in busy times, everyone is busy. I mean, you're busier as a realtor. I'm sure you get more calls and you have more clients coming and going. Appraisers are busier. Insurance agents are busier. Home inspectors that you need are busier. The banks are certainly busier, and we are busier. So at every stage of every transaction, every little step that has to be taken takes longer than you would expect. And of course, that doesn't allow for COVID, which is just making all of those steps harder and slower. So that's really the thing that our clients have to understand is that busyness across the country is impacting us here in Alberta, even though we're not quite as busy. We're still quite busy. And everyone is busy at every stage. So what can they do about that? I mean, you can't make Royal Bank go faster than they go, or whoever. So the only thing I can say is that if people understand that's the way it is in the market, then they can do everything they can at their end to be ready for whatever every person in the queue needs. So you have a good idea at your end what you need people to do.
Yeah. So here's the conundrum, and I want to get your take on it. When the market's hot, there's pressure from all angles to make things happen faster, while simultaneously having a bigger pile of paper in everybody's queue. Yours included. I mean, you can only physically conveyance so many deals in a darn week. And so, what can buyers do? Because I mean, the buyers are going to hear it from sellers. We want a quick closing, a couple of weeks, unconditional this, which is maybe not feasible from the legal end. So what can a buyer do or a seller do to just make enough room for a deal to happen on time while still trying to be quick? Like what are some things that can be, what are ducks that should and could be in a row that make for an easier and smoother transaction?
One of the things I hear a lot is the length of time it takes to get a fully unconditional mortgage approval from the day that the buyer starts talking to a lender or a mortgage broker. I mean, they might be at the branch talking directly to a loans officer. They might be using a mortgage broker, as many people do. But from when they start that conversation to the point where they get a fully unconditional approval, that timeline has stretched out. And the thing I hear most is that buyers keep getting asked for more and more and more documentation, more and more documentation. They think they've provided it all, and then they get a call from the broker that says, the lender wants this or that. So that, I think, is probably the biggest time chunk. And so as people get ready to buy a house, if they call you up and say, James, we find that we're going to pull the trigger, we're going to buy a house. And you might say to them, okay, I want you to, do you know who you're going to get your loan from? And they go, oh yes, we've got a favorite lender. We have a favorite mortgage broker. If they don't, you can steer them somewhere to one of our trusted partners there. And the thing from your end, or if they phone me from my end, is talk to that broker now and get the list of everything that they want and the pluses, and then ask them, say, okay, I'm gonna get you your standard list, which is my employer letter, my 2 years of tax returns, my 2 tax assessments, my whatever the list is. And then they should say to the mortgage broker, we know financing is a little tougher these days. What oddball requests have you had from your lender? And they go, one lender asked for this and another lender asked for that. So the key is to talk to your broker as quick as you can and go, I need to know what you want because I'm going to get it for you fast. And then try and get some comment on the weird things that come up one in every 10 or 20 deals, so you can get those ones too. So, I mean, that's the biggest plug, I think, the biggest plug in the pipeline is
Mhm.
mortgage approval end. So all I can say is get started early. I mean, if they say to you, James, we're not quite ready to pull the trigger yet, but we're going to be doing it soon, you might say to them, okay, great. Go see your favorite mortgage broker and get pre-approved. And I know that's not, and you and I know that's not a mortgage approval for when they find their house, but it's the process. And they can start that conversation with their broker lender about, we know it's tough, we know it's busy, we know this, we know that. We have to be ready. We have to be ready for sellers who want us to close quicker than we want to close. What can we get you? So I would push my clients to just be all over their broker lender to find out what's required and be all over getting it as quick as they can.
That's great advice, Barry. That's great advice. And I'm gonna end on one really simple question. As a lawyer, what's the one thing that grinds your gears the most or ticks you off the most when a file comes across your desk so that we know to not do it?
The one that I think gets me the most, or I think could be dealt with a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
is really on the seller side, and that's the question of the seller providing the real property report and compliance to
Got it.
So that I think would work a lot better if at the listing stage you were able to put that right between the seller's eyes and say, listen, your deal will go a lot better, a lot faster, a lot smoother if you have an up-to-date RPR and compliance. Do you have that?
Love it.
And they go, James, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, you can push them along a little more to recognize the utility of having that up-to-date RPR and compliance as a deal smoother outer.
Got it.
And that would really make deals move along quicker. And James, if you run into people who go, I'm not getting no stinking RPR and compliance, they can go fish. You can send them an email saying, I understand your call. I've recommended otherwise, but you're the boss.
Yeah. And at least you know.
And at least you know. And then you can tick that off your list, because you can't make them. You can tell them why it's better, but you can't make people do what they don't want to do. So you tell them, and then then you tell me. You tell me, say, Barry, we tried. This is the story. We at least know which way to jump. We can start negotiations on accepting title insurance, or maybe we're forced to do it. But the RPR compliance from the seller side is one that is a big delay.
All right. Sellers and realtors representing sellers, listen up. That is an invaluable tip from one of the industry's best. So, Barry, thanks again for hopping in on Tip Tuesday. It's been far too long since we've had a chance to chat with you, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time in the middle of this busy season to just inform everybody as to what they need to know to get their deals flowing a little more smoothly.
Anytime, James, if you need me to show up on a Tip Tuesday, I got a million of them, so don't hesitate.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Appreciate it.